Okay, probably a bit late in shooting this and announcing this, but a couple weeks back, channel finally hit 500, 500 subscribers. We were at 100 uh, Christmas time 2023. Now, less than a year later, to be at over 500 at the time I'm filming this is, quite frankly, an honor. I'm going to invite people to do a little Q&A in the comments of this. I'll answer all of those questions in the subsequent updates. So you want to drop any questions you got for me about the channel, about why I do what I do botanically. I mean, you can always ask botanical questions to try to answer them to the best of my ability. But whatever. Anything you might have. I'll fix this guy. Oh, that's right. This one's weird. I figured I'd do a general little garden overview. I just recently moved to this place and needed a lot of TLC in terms of the garden situation. We'll take a walk back here in a second to show you what's going on back there, but it was kind of a mess. Anyway, I'll just show you some of the stuff that I've got planted in these new garden beds. I'll start off with this guy here because he's actually the only thing really still blooming. This is Agritina altissima, as you can tell from the chubby bumblebee that's been on there, ever since I started laying down this mulch a few minutes ago, or about 10 minutes ago. This thing's an absolute pollinator magnet. Eupatoriae tribe. I've seen it in the wild plenty. Really easy to grow. I got one of these from a buddy who grows. I just saw it in the corner. He said, "You want it? It's yours." They're pretty easy to grow. So we'll see if I can get some seed off of this at the end of the season and propagate these, because these can get nice, about this big. They can really fill out an area if you've got a spot where you want some late season attention. Great thing to have around for fall pollinators. Not emergent right now, which will be kind of a theme in this video, because a lot of the stuff I just planted. Got this for $1 at a native nursery. Just blue lobelia, not technically native to New England, but one I figured it was half dead anyway. Threw it in the ground. If it comes up, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Right there, I do have the native and actually quite common lobelia, Lobelia cardinalis. I grew a ton of these from seed. None of them bloomed this year because they need a couple years to cook up juices. I just put out that basal rosette. Then next year, July, August, they'll send up a nice spike of red flowers, whereas this will spend a nice spike of blue flowers. And both these pretty popular garden additions for a native garden. This white flag here just marks some tulips that my partner wanted me to plant. Not at all native to North America, but they're harmless. They won't really spread, so we'll see. We'll see how they do. We had some at our old place that they loved, so I figured, I'll just throw a couple in the ground. Somebody gave me a few bulbs, and I'm just like, what the heck. Close relative of the Agaritina, Eupatorium dubium, or Eutrochium dubium, coastal plain Joe pyeweed. I grew a ton of this, and I've one of the ones I've grown everywhere I've lived for quite a while, because this will bloom the first year that you grow it, as you can see from those seed heads there. In fact, I got to come out, collect the seed from this, and start a new batch for next year. I give a ton of those out. That is probably, if you're going to put one plant in a native New England plant pollinator garden, might as well go with Joe pyeweed lobelia. Real easy to grow, real easy to deal with. But both these, I grew from seed. Back there, same guy I got this Agritina from. That's actually going to grow up to be a nice trailing bush. That's a species of rubus. That's a flowering raspberry, which is redundant because all raspberries flower, but Rubus odoratus, real beautiful big showy purple flowers on it, which make up for the fact that the fruits don't taste very good. So we'll see how that does. Those are supposed to be real easy to grow as well, real popular. Nice substitute for a rose bush, although of course you could always just plant one of the 20 native species of rose we have here instead of one of the ugly double flowering hybrids or some Eurasian species of rose. Certainly better than Rosa multiflora. Down here, it was a surprise to me. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen the flower. Of course, the flower got nipped off. This actually would be flowering right now if it hadn't gotten munched and spat out. This is a species of gentian. This is a Gentiana andrewsii, a plant I've never actually seen in the wild, but apparently grows just fine from seed. It's considerably more rare than Gentiana clausa. It's similar looking and closely related, cousin, both in the, genus Gentian. So we'll see how that does. Somebody was about to buy this. They actually had it set aside at a plant sale, and then ultimately decided to let me have it because I was just telling them about it. I was going to let him have it. I just said, oh, that's fine. I never grown Gentian before, but it was curious to me, and it's a rare plant, so figured we'd try it out. So I really owe it to that person to make sure this does well. And then you'll see this planted over on the other side. This is, it looks like hell right now because he got kind of dinged up. But again, this is a shrub. It'll come back. This is a native honeysuckle. This is Diarvella lonicera. So this is the northern bush honeysuckle. This has made an appearance in a number of videos. These do real well in cultivation too. So this is the most recent one. I actually just got done doing the mulch for here. Got the little fence out because the deer can and do trample absolutely everything. Bunnies too come in and just want to eat everything, which is, when everything's established, it's gonna be fine. You know what I mean? Take a few leaves off, won't hurt anything. Let things fill out. They're just gonna mow everything down to nothing, or worse yet, rip it out from the roots. Because I just watered this, even though it's cold. It's the end of the growing season right now. October begins next week. A lot of these have been sitting in pots all summer, and they've got real root bound. They're going to need the winter. This is why you should plant in the fall. They're going to need the winter to establish the roots. They're not growing up right now, but rest assured, even as those leaves brown and those plants wither, so long as the temperature is conducive to it, those root systems are still being built. That's actually one of the reasons why you see plants turn color, get foliage. Of course, this has got some fungus on it now, but you get the idea. Why they turn color, why they die back, is they're sending all the sugar from those leaves down to those roots. Yeah, the gentians get some real pretty color on them at the end of the season. So anyway, this is just one garden. This one gets blasted with shade, or blasted with sun first thing in the morning. So I'm kind of trying to do a tiered thing. This will get big every year, but it's a forb. The Eutrochium, God willing, will get pretty big too, but it's a forb. These will both die completely back, and it'll look like there's nothing here except for a couple stems. This is going to be a shrub, but they grow kind of lanky. So we'll see. Hopefully it still allows for early in the season a lot of light to get back to this garden back here, which we'll go talk about. We'll talk about that one last. So we'll go around the side here, show you another one. Okay, so this is a side garden. Over here, things are looking really bad. This is the second one that I planted, and things are looking really bad to really good, depending on what you want. So a lot of this, again, healthy mix of grown from seed and bought. We have several. I'll show you the good looking one. Again, from a discount bin at a nursery for $1, and it came right back, no problem. Comptonia peregrina, a must-have, all right? A must-have for any garden like this one. This is all over sand, and this gets blasted with sun all day. This plant's gonna hack it just fine in that. So I got that one on discount, and then I got two little ones right there and right over there. I actually ordered them because this plant is one that I'm too intimidated to try growing it from seed, realistically. This right here, it's not actually native to New England, but they're really cool plants, and they're native to, like, you can see them in New York, just to the west of here. Verbicina alternifolia, sunflower relative, Helianthia tribe. Things can get like 8 feet tall, beautiful yellow flowers on them, and they'll just keep coming back. They stay nice and neat though, so they'll just kind of shoot up and tower over a bunch of other stuff. One that I had the privilege to see in bloom, it's really pretty, thimbleweed, aka anemone. Is it Anemone canadensis or Anemone virginiana? I got it written down, Anemone virginiana. So these are beautiful, buttercup relatives. I saw this in the wild, never questioned it, and then it was at my buddy grows a ton of kind of this stuff. Well, not buddy, acquaintance grows a ton of this stuff. I buy off of him, and I saw this in the wild, and I couldn't figure out what it was, but it was beautiful. And then I had figured it out later down the line, so it just stuck with me for that reason. And then, I had the opportunity to buy one for a couple bucks, so I said, yeah, I'll put it in the cart. But as you can see, this guy's putting out basil rosettes, getting ready for next year. That's a real good sign, so I'm hoping this guy comes back with a vengeance. I'm growing these from seed, but I bought a few too. Baptisia tinctoria, this plant, the Comptonia, and then another one I'm growing from seed right now, a Ceanothus americanus. That trifecta will give you a beautiful flowering, white, green. These flower green. They actually kind of hard to tell the flowers on these. These are oak relatives, so the flowers aren't really not really showy, but it's a really pleasant smelling plant, and it'll stay green even in the driest droughts of the summer. But the Baptisia, beautiful yellow flowers late summer, and then the Ceanothus, beautiful white flowers early summer. These three together will colonize any difficult, sandy, sun scorched, arid microsite you can imagine in New England. They do a really good job of doing that, and they fill out nicely. They don't get too tall. They don't get out of control. Maybe 2-3 feet high, 2-3 feet wide. Real nice plant to have. The Electrum pubescens, another buttercup member family there. Tried to grow these from seed in the past, no luck. So we'll see. Just how sticking one in the ground grows. There's another Baptisia. There's the other Comptonia. This is just Asclepias syriaca. I grow a bunch of these from seed. Real easy to grow from seed. Again, not really necessarily native to New England, but still a cool plant. Still an East Coast native. This is Stokesia laevis, which I actually split and brought from my old place to here because they are really good providing ground cover. They stay low to the ground. They put out beautiful purple flowers that attract everything. And again, it's not like planting something from overseas. It's native a couple 100 miles away, not a couple 1,000 miles away. And they're just a real beautiful plant. I'm not the purist by any imagination. Get a good mix of local natives, get a good mix of some real utility plants. This one just seems to really get hit by the bugs, and it's beautiful. So what the heck not? It's not going to spread. It's not invasive. It's not like get some species that are, what am I trying to think of? Like a Robinia pseudoacacia is native to the east, but not to New England. It could be a problem here. This one, that's not the case in my experience, but we'll see what happens with it. Real deep roots, and it's a real, can tolerates the summers and the sun scorching really well. They get this all the way down to like Louisiana. I think it comes up as far north as like North Carolina, Virginia area naturally, but it's a widely planted ornamental. This is also, weirdly enough, it didn't come back true to variety, so this is just the type species again. So the one that was planted was a white flowered variant. All of the pups that it would send out, or that would come from the seed, were the natural blue purple flowers. I'll put up a picture of this one, real pretty. Another Asclepias syriaca grew from seed. Get some milkweed aphids clinging on there. No milkweed bugs though. Hopefully we'll get some monarchs next year. There's the seed pod I'm going to harvest as soon as it starts to split. Verbena. Oh God, blue vervain. Why can't I remember it now? Verbena hastata, another one I grew from seed. Actually, surprisingly difficult. I couldn't get it to strike for a couple years, and they just randomly started coming up in my prop draw. Also, you'll see there's grass here, but there's rocks here. Stone's expensive. I bought some, laid it down. I'm going to edge out all my gardens with this eventually, just to helps with erosion, helps keep the weeds out. I just threw it right down over the grass, and as you can see, it killed pretty much everything except for this strip and a couple of stragglers, which I'll just rip up. Some of these I might even keep. Like that's White Avens right there, GM Canadens. I'll probably just keep, and I'm not really a dandelion, ripper-outer. Schizacrum scoparium, real important. That's a little blue stem, one of the most common grasses you see co-occurring with like the Baptisia. I'm going for kind of a sun barren thing here. You'll see this guy, real beautiful grass too. I got Andropogon girardii, one I'm going to grow. Because you gotta mix grasses in, because they're gonna come up anywhere no matter what, and better to get the nice ones that actually support some local insects. So I'm growing more of this. I'm growing some Indian grass, which is Andropogon girardii. It'd be real nice to get some get the Schizacrum scoparium, Andropogon girardii. So what I'm missing? Sargassum nutans. Actually, I think I'm growing Sargassum nutans because that's the common name Indian grass. Andropogon girardii is big blue stem. I'd love to grow that as well. Some phlox that I also divided and brought over. If it's not native here, it's native to New York, close by. Another one of those eutrochiums I grew from seed. There's another honeysuckle. This one didn't get beat up as hard. And then another Stokesia laevis. That is a goldenrod, Solidago canadensis I grew from seed. I only am doing the one of them, and I'm keeping it here because everybody who grows this plant tells me it gets out of control, And I've indeed, you know, I mean, this thing can get super aggressive, but I'm hoping if I balance it out with something like the Eutrochium, something like a Verbena, you get these kind of contained back here. They'll do a good job of policing themselves because they'll all kind of bloom. Well, the Verbena will bloom a little bit earlier. These two will be growing and blooming at the same rate. They'll keep each other tall and straight and tidy. I don't want them spreading out. I want them growing up. So we'll see how that goes. Easy enough to cut the thing down. It's like I said, it's a 4, but it's not going to get woody. It's not going to get huge. Just going to die back at the end of the year. So we got a little backyard to show you, and then one more garden. Okay, so this is the backyard. I get my little fire pit, burn pile. All of this was so completely, hopelessly overgrown at one point that you couldn't even walk beyond this point. I had to clear all this out, burned a ton of it. More of this is coming out. There's a Norway spruce right here that's got to go. Big Morris alba mulberry tree that's got to come out. There's a dead elm. There's a living elm, almost Americana, which is surprising. A whole bunch of Norway maples along this fence that are a massive pain in the butt. And then there's a dead cherry tree, a really tall yew, weirdly enough. I'll probably keep the yew just as a specimen because it's a beautiful, real cool to see it actually growing like a tree instead of a shrub. And then I get some black cherry back here as well, which I'll probably keep the black cherry. They're not going to get much bigger, and they're also growing in the center of the yard. Just some herbs and tomatoes I got. Here are some of that. Oh God, this is the Lobelia cardinalis that I forgot about, and it made this really cool hydroponic root system in the water. I'll probably yank these and stick them in pots because I don't really have the room to stick them in the ground yet this year. So we'll see. These will do fine over the winter. They'll survive. Random agave that defies all logic by staying alive. Some succulents that I've just left out all season, and despite them getting kind of bug eaten, or at least these two. The Echeveria I've got huge, loved it outside this year. And then my these I grew from seed, native northeastern pitcher plants. Two died. That's a Hoya right there that I'm trying to just see what it wants. I've submerged it, put out roots. The roots die back. If you know anything about growing Hoya, let me know, because that was a gift. I'd love to actually grow it, because Hoya is really cool. My Venus flytrap, which loves it outside, and then these pitcher plants now approaching 2 years old. So 3 years old. I'll bring them in this year. Next year, I'll put them in bigger pots. The root systems don't really get that big, but they should do fine. These two, they actually almost died. These two came back very vigorously, and this one's still just, working on it. But I have to grow these in a little bog garden. You can't just get away with just watering them, frankly. Come all the way over to here. And then we got the shade garden, which is the most unimpressive because everything here is all mostly ephemerals. They've all senesced. Erisma triphyllum, which I got to come and collect the seeds of. I had a mayapple there, Podophyllum peltatum, some nice sedges. You gotta get some graminoids in the mix too, guys. Gotta do sedges, grasses, rushes. You plant some of that too, because that's gonna fill in the gaps between plants. That, in addition to the bark mulch and the rock, does a really good job of keeping weeds down. Nice blueberry I've had for years at this point, which never really took off because it's been in a pot on my patio. But here, now it's finally in the ground. We'll see how it does. These get real big around these parts. There's another Carex pennsylvanica. There's a ruin enemy back here too, which I think has a... Oh, no, not really. Still got some out. But, an ephemeral, gonna go away. Astrum canadens, Dicentra cucularia, all underground. They'll be back. I bought them and there was nothing above the soil. They're just rhizomes under there waiting to go. My prized possession, little rhododendron canadens I've been growing from seed for the last 2 years. Got attacked by a deer, knocked the thing over, took a nibble. We'll see if it comes back. More lobelia. Some random, again, dollar bin. It's a hydrangea arborescens. It's the native eastern hydrangea. Not to New England, and I think it's a variety as well. We'll see what it does. It was $1. Maybe they'll fill out and provide some shade for the stuff here. And then lastly, all throughout here, I put in violets, which will bloom in the spring, but for now, native like violet scororia, whatever the common northern blue violet is. Put a whole bunch of that in here, just because for whatever reason, the rabbits gravitate towards that. They leave most of my stuff alone, thankfully. So that's pretty much it. That's a little garden tour. I got plans, gonna try and do some stuff back here. Obviously, I want some raised garden beds. I do like growing veggies too. And we'll fill things in. Right now, I've got no real narrative other than this is like a shade ephemeral garden. The other one over there is going to be more of a sun garden. We're going to experiment. I'm sure some of this stuff's not going to make it through the winter. You just got to kind of accept that growing in. And of course, I've got numerous, bags of seed that I've collected over the season. So if you made it this far, let me know if you want me to do some more content like this. I'm certainly happy to do this as I fill in this garden. I experiment more with actually growing and propagating. And, leave any questions you got down there in the comments. I'll answer them in a follow-up video. And we'll see, maybe we'll hit 1,000 at some point. And I should probably plan on doing something real special for that. But until then, take it easy.